It's good to see you guys. We had a spirited practice today. So impressed with just the team's effort this past Saturday. I think the energy and the care factor and the speeds that we're playing with were all what we would like and what we're striving for, and all of it. The execution is still something that we're really working hard to improve upon. So much credit goes to TCU and just their ability to take a punch and kind of keep swinging. I think, just having gone through that, just such an impressive team, and hats off to them. Excited for the opportunity here on Friday with Texas, just their skill level and then their fight. I think, you watch them on defense, they run to the ball, they play with effort. Offensively, there's such a quick strike, explosive outfit, and plenty of coaches on that side, or on that team rather, that have relationships with and respect for, and all of it. And so, it should be a really good one. We're working to build upon the practice we had today, so that we could be at our best for that. Take any questions you guys got.
Dave, since you've been here probably much longer, Baylor's never had a loss quite that dramatic, that fashion. Is it going to be hard to put that behind, or do you think they can move on?
I appreciate that. We spent quite a bit of time, yesterday. So we come back yesterday, and that was really kind of a Sunday/Monday for us. And, it was very much on their faces. There's a couple of guys still emotional in the meeting from the game, and, we talked about there's a Scottish warrior. He says something like, "I'm going to lay down here and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again." And I think that's totally it, And I think the ability to really collectively kind of rise and fight is what it's all about. And so that's all we're talking about. The energy today was really good, and I think we continue to build on that. And I think the more film we show them, Texas kind of speaks for itself, and just the opportunity that's presented there Friday morning, and just the whole of it. I think, we'll. I know I'm really looking forward to it. I feel the team will be too.
Dave, as far as Blake, he obviously made some really good throws in that game the other day. The touchdown pass comes to mind, and probably some that he'd like to have back. As you guys go into these last two games of this year and kind of, look forward to next year as well, how do you kind of assess where he's at and where he still needs to, improve?
Yeah, I think I think Blake, there's been continued improvement throughout the year. I think you look back at the beginning of the year and just ball security and, and the slides and all of it, I think that's progressed. It's maybe not 100%, but it's improved throughout. And he's really made an intentional effort to improve in those things. And then, I think for him, when stuff is, or when the picture is clear and the coverage is diagnosed and he's got a clean pocket, he's really, really, really good. And I think, there's been improvement throughout the year of when he can't step up, when there's pressure in his face, or, when he's out of the pocket and ball security and keep his eyes down the field. I think so. Those are examples of things where maybe it wasn't great to start, and then it's gotten greater. And so I think you still want to see growth in those areas, and I think some of those areas popped up on Saturday. And so I think, he has been improving on it. I think we'd all, for all of us, I know for me, I'd like to be so much better than I am, And so I'm sure it's the same with him. And so we kind of stay in the fight.
Coach, we're so used to, especially over the last year or so, when you guys have the ball and you need to just run it down someone's throat, you guys have been able to accomplish that. I think it was, as recently as Oklahoma.
Yeah.
When you looked at the tape, what was different on those final two drives?
Yeah, I think, I give credit to TCU. I thought they did a great job getting penetration right off the snap. And I thought that, they won the line of scrimmage there right at the beginning, and our backs were running hard and they were turning their legs and all of it, and our linemen were trying to be able to get behind them and push and do all the things. I think we just didn't execute. And you give credit to TCU because there's those two. There's that drive and the drive previous, too. And so, to run the ball as well as we did, and to move the ball as well as we did, and then to get to those two possessions and not, I think just speaks to kind of where we're at. And so, you take that, you address the things that can be corrected in terms of those specific things, and then work to get better.
Reese, I mean, he had a big workload about mid-season, was doing great. The last 2 weeks, Kansas State, TCU, just 19 total carries. Mm-hmm. Is he 100% healthy? And if so, is there a reason his workload has gone down so much?
No, I mean, he's healthy. I thought he did. He had some explosive runs. I thought that in the throw game, he was where he needed to be, doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I think his growth in not being the primary ball handler, so to speak, I think has been really, really good. I think, it just shows that we've got a healthy room once again. And so you've got Swirl and his continued emergence because he's healthy now. And then you've got Quaylen, and I think Quaylen has, from the start of the year to where we are now, he's up there in terms of the most improved, and he's running the ball like you would expect from a guy that looks like he does. And so that was not necessarily the case in the beginning of the year, and the credit goes to him.
Dave, Kelsey Johnson, I mean, he's a guy that, a true freshman. I guess Drake's injury probably has given him more opportunities, but what have you seen from him over the last few weeks?
Physical. Physical. I think, there is a great love of the game, and he loves football. He can block with his hand in the ground. He can block from a 2-point. He can block when he's in motion. And I think all of those things are kind of being exploited now. I think he's a really good pass catcher. He had the run, the other day. And so I think just his variable skills, and then the ability, I think there's something. One of the things that make him unique is that, we can walk through something, we can teach something, and he can do it in a team period, and then he's ready to go with it and play it with full confidence, and not kind of a question or an anxiousness or just full confidence and full go. And so that's much appreciated, and I think that's continuing to show up on Saturdays.
Gavin, he hasn't been playing as much lately. Is he healthy, or how's he doing?
Yeah, so he started the game, and I think in the very first kickoff return, he injured his leg, and so we're hoping that we get him back, and so that's the plan right now. And so he moved around some today, did good. He'll move around a little bit more tomorrow. The short week kind of compresses it for sure, but looked good today, so we're hopeful.
Dave, you guys did a really great job of limiting Bijan last year. How much more difficult will it be this year now that QB play has improved a little bit and their offense is more explosive in other places?
It's always difficult. His film is very impressive. I think, we played, Kansas State a few weeks back, and Deuce is, patient, kind of, sliding back there, A, B, C, D, looking for a gap to hit, and then sees it and hits it. And this guy's very similar in that. But then also he can take, if there's just a sliver of daylight there, he can take it, lower his shoulder, and move the pile too. And so a guy that can do it all. And so it's the ability to withstand some of the big play strikes, whether it's in the run or the pass, and then continue to play technique when there's a patient home run hitter back there. That's really going to be the key.
To go off of that, what have you seen from Quinn Ewers?
I think when he sees the coverages and he sees really clear, hey, this is what they're going with. This is where my one-on-one is. Here's very clearly what my progression is. When all that stuff's kind of lined up, he's very, very good. I think when it's kind of dirty or gray, I think it's better for the defense, and then I think his arm strength is such that he can make all the throws, and so you have to if the ball's on a hash and you're on an out way on the other side of it, you've got to be able to stick your foot in the ground and drive for 3 hard steps, close that distance, because that ball could be there and he could throw that guy open. So there's plenty of throws of that, and so he definitely makes you work. And when you watch him on film, if you're a DB, you see it right away.
In terms of this short week, everything that goes into it, coming off the loss, as mentioned, only a couple days, game on Friday, Thanksgiving thrown in there. How do you deal with all those variables?
I think try to focus on what's just right in front of you. I think the team the last 2 weeks have we've been through it some, but I think that's all part of it, and I think we're stronger for it. And I think we're probably a closer team now than we were just 2 weeks ago. I think you find out so much about yourself, especially when there's trials, tribulations, and all of it. And when people can fully put their heart out there and then kind of have it crushed at the end, I think it's so vulnerable to do that, and for guys to do that, and then to make the decision here to do it again, I think it speaks to just a strong growth of the team, and we're aiming to do that.
Yeah, to build off that a little bit. So I know how hard you guys work, and you're invested and you want to win every game. When you don't have that carrot of a Big 12 championship game that you might be playing for dangling out there, is it a little trickier in terms of just motivation when you're just playing maybe for a different bowl that you might get?
No, I appreciate that. I think always the emphasis on intrinsic, on this is where I'm at right now, this is who I could become, and then further, just collectively, this is where we're at right now. This is what we could become. And, you look at that game this past Saturday and the effort and the speed and just all of it, that's us right there. And we just have to be able to execute better. But for really one of the first times this year, unfortunately, number-wise, that was us. And to be able to bring that back and to make people have to see that and face that, that's our goal.
You guys have obviously played really well the last 2 road games. Does that bring some confidence going on the road again?
It's crazy that you're asking that question, isn't it? Yeah, so I think that our guys have kind of mentioned that, and I think they like being on the road just because it's just us and that. And, I think there probably is some of that. And just based upon this year, and just when we're in the hotel, it's just whoever's in that team meeting room specifically, it's us versus the whole thing here, coming tomorrow, and that meeting at night prior to the game. And so I think there is some of that, but again, I go back to the previous question of it has to come from inside out on things that you can control and things that you want to be able to show and put on tape, because you're choosing either courage or comfort. You can either kind of just hold back, or you could put yourself out there again, and you really can't choose both.
Dave, how are y'all handling Thanksgiving?
Yeah, so we'll have Thanksgiving here for the team right after our walkthrough, and so it'll be just for our players and for our staff. And then, with the 11 o'clock game on Friday, we'll kind of disperse, and guys will be able to go with their families and all of it. So I think there'll be 2 Thanksgivings for guys, and so that's always a positive.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.